So would a full squad of Championship players survive in the Premier League? Let's find out. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. We had this one suggested the other week actually. I thought it was quite an interesting concept. If you'd like to see me do this with a couple of other variables, I had some suggestions in here for doing would a team full of League One players survive in the Championship. Maybe we could do the best Championship under 23s, how would they get on? And before we do hop into anything, I wanted to give a big shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, you can check it out in the top line of the description down below. Really handy to have. Obviously, we've got more Championship action which is coming on in midweek, so if you want to stay on top of all of that, obviously the Championship at the moment, we've got quite a few teams who have got games in hand and things like that, so if you want to get live updates whenever any of those games are going on to your phone, OneFootball is the place to stay on top of everything. But without any further ado, let's hop into this one. So as Norwich are currently sat at the top of the Championship, I thought that they will be the team used for this experiment here today, so I've transferred all pretty much the big Championship players over to Norwich. Now I've sort of separated this out. I've transferred over sort of some of the highest rated players in FIFA in the Championship and also the highest performers in real life. So this is the starting 11 that I've put together currently. Obviously this will change throughout the season. So Begovic in net, we've got Roberts at fullback, a back two of Hanley and Pinnock next to Rico Henry. Midfield four looks really strong in here. We've got Sarr, Hughes, Hourihane, Buendia, and then the forward two of Adam Armstrong and Ivan Toney. Making up the bench, we then got Lucas João, Timu Pukki, Andre Ayew, Josh Da Silva, Tim Krul, Max Aarons, and Omar Richards. And then our reserves, I mean, this is a team that has got depth in it, I think it's fair to say. Other midfield options looking really strong in here as well. Obviously Ollie Skipp, who's been really good for Norwich so far this season, Elise, Cook, Gustavo Hamer of Coventry, who I'm a massive fan of, Grimes, Norgard, obviously been out injured in real life but still most definitely a top performer. Bielik, you could say the same about as well. And then here are some of our defensive reinforcements. So this is what the squad is going to look like, guys, and we will now be putting Norwich into the Premier League. So the team that we're going to swap Norwich with that's currently in the Premier League is going to be Sheffield United, as they're obviously currently sat bottom of the table. So a four-star team here in Norwich. I'm feeling optimistic here about Norwich's chances of survival with the best current Championship 11. So we will be simulating through the season and basically finding out how this Norwich side is actually going to fare. So obviously the team will be rotated and things like that. Loads of squad depth within this team. And so this then here is what the Premier League table is currently looking like. So if we head on over to our fixture list, it's a pretty tough start to the season. Chelsea and Man United as the opening two fixtures. Let's get into them. What I'm interested to know from you guys is who do you think are going to be those next players to make that step up to the Premier League should their team not be promoted this year? I think there's going to be quite a lot of interest, certainly in a lot of the sort of forward-thinking players. But let's go ahead and quick sim this one, see how the Championship boys get on against Chelsea. It's a 2-0 defeat to start the season out with, but that's obviously, it was a tough start, I think it's fair to say. So what I think we'll do is we'll go month by month and basically check up every now and again how the team is getting on. And to be honest with you, this hasn't been a bad start to the season. So after getting through August, we lost the first game of the season against Chelsea, then lost to Manchester United, both by 2-0, but against Brighton and Burnley, 6 points from those two games. Let's check out who the top scorers are currently within the squad. So Ivan Toney there picking up an injury. So currently the top scorers within the squad is actually Scott Sinclair. Wow, the Preston boys doing us proud at the moment here. 2 starts, 2 goals and an assist for him. Jed Wallace also chipping in with a goal, and then Adam Armstrong in the cup as well as Alex Mowat. Very interesting. So after the first month of fixtures, the Championship side currently finds themselves 10th in the Premier League with 2 wins and 2 losses. That's a fairly respectable start, I'd say. Carrying on into the month of September, the good form pretty much continues. We win against Fulham, get a draw against Newcastle, but Leeds do beat us by 2-1. So currently sat 9th in the Premier League, top half of the table. You're going to take that. Let's check out the next month. Okay, so definitely a tougher one in terms of the sort of fixture pile up here. We lose against Crystal Palace and then get 3 consecutive draws against Arsenal, Wolves and Leicester. So after that month, currently sat 11th in the Premier League, 11 games played, 13 points. Still a decent return. I'm interested though, where do you guys think that this team would realistically finish in the Premier League as well? So a few months into the season, it is now Adam Armstrong as the team's top scorer with 4 goals to his name currently. November, pretty tough month in terms of fixtures, facing both Liverpool and Manchester City, but a point against Man City isn't a bad return, I think it's fair to say. So we are dropping down in the table now, down to 15th. Let's have a bit more of an in-depth look into the table at the moment, see how far off we are. So currently 4 points above the relegation zone, just about keeping our head above water at this point in time. I think what is going to be crucial for the season is what happens in this December period. A lot of games coming up and a few winnable ones in that as well, so let's see how we do. Okay, so December on the whole was a little bit of a mixed bag for us, to be honest with you. So we drew against West Brom and Everton, we lost against West Ham, Aston Villa and Leeds, but did win against Crystal Palace and Spurs. So let's check out the wider picture, what we're currently looking like in the league. So we do have Wigan in the FA Cup. Okay, so in the wider context of things, we're not doing all too bad currently. 14th in the Premier League, still not all too much in it though. Interesting, Leeds are actually in the relegations at the moment, alongside Crystal Palace and Brighton. So now we are heading into January, let's take a look at the top scorers. So currently Scott Sinclair with 6 goals to his name in the Premier League, obviously one of the players of this squad who has previously got a little bit of Premier League experience. Armstrong chipping in with 4 goals overall, AU with 4 as well. Apart from that, there's a bit of a drop off with people just dropping in with the odd goal here and there. AU does lead the way for assists as well, just with 2. So let's go through the month of January. Some tough fixtures in here, but the games against both Burnley and Brighton I'd say are pretty winnable with this squad. And you know what, overall that's a pretty decent month for us there. So a few draws dotted in throughout there, but the win against Brighton will be big. Let's go straight into the month of February. Once again, some tough games in here in FA Cup replay against Leeds. Okay, so we managed to salvage that month late on, losing against both Liverpool and Leicester, but 2 pretty tough games. We do pull it out the bag against West Ham, then we do progress in the cup, beating Leeds. If we do take a look at the current Premier League table, we have put a 10-point gap between ourselves and the relegation zone, so 10 points between Norwich and Crystal Palace currently. Let's go through the month of March next. Once again, some pretty tough games, but I suppose they all are in the Premier League. Okay, so we do bow out of the FA Cup against Manchester City after beating Arsenal on penalties. We do get 3 points against West Brom, but do lose against Everton. In terms of the Premier League table, still sat 14th and doing fairly well. Let's check out who's leading the way currently. So it is actually Liverpool with 68 points, with both Man United and Man City right behind on the 67. So only 2 months left now of this Premier League season, and do you know what, we're going to do both of them at the same time, because I'm very eager to see where this side's actually going to finish. So the last game of the season's up against Fulham. Let's see how we do. Right, so the simulation has ended. I'm not going to lie, the form definitely has tailed off towards the end of the season. Those 2 wins against Fulham and Aston Villa could be absolutely massive. So we went winless throughout the month of April and also suffered a few defeats in May as well. Have we done enough to survive? Let's find out. So yes, this team has just about got over the line in the end, finishing 16th in the Premier League, with the relegated 3 being Brighton, Leeds United and Crystal Palace. So in the end there was quite a bit of daylight between ourselves and the relegation zone. Winning the Premier League was Manchester City with 92 points. You know what, that's not bad at all for a team fully made up of Championship players. So let's take a look at who our top scorer was at the end of the season. So in the end it was Scott Sinclair of Preston North End with 8 goals to his name, joined alongside Andre Ayew, who is definitely a key performer. 8 goals, 5 assists. Obviously these two here having previous Premier League experience between them, obviously contributing quite a bit. Adam Armstrong with 7 goals overall, Dak chipping in with 4, Cantwell with 3, Kiefer Moore. Leading the way 4 assists was Ayew, and a couple people chipping in with the odd assists here and there. Interestingly, Ivan Toney just chipping in with the 1 goal all season, nothing in the Premier League. He did pick up an injury which kept him out for a sizable chunk of this season, but no goals to his game there. I think it can't be too long before he's playing in the Premier League in real life. But there we have it, guys. The question has now been answered. Would a team made up fully of Championship players survive in the Premier League? According to FIFA, yes, it would. If you'd like to see me do this with a few other things, get your suggestions in the comments down below. If you'd like to see me do it with, say, Championship under 23s and we simulate like 5 seasons into the future or something like that, I think that could be quite an interesting one to see how all they develop later on in their careers. But if you did go on to enjoy today's video, guys, make sure to leave a like. Please do subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content as well. But apart from that, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.